We are back on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk, 1180, 1230, KGEO, 1410 KERI, and now in Albuquerque, New Mexico on 1000 KKIM. Our guest by phone, Senatorial candidate Andy Vidak, who's got a special election coming up July 23rd. I don't want to speak for Clay, but I think I could safely say that we definitely would like to see Andy in that seat for a number of reasons. I highly recommend Andy Vidak for this position.
He doesn't want to speak for Clay, but he says we.
That's right.
Okay.
Because I can safely say
we support Andy Vidak.
Yes, definitely, most definitely. So, Andy, if I were getting on the radio today and listening to this program, tell me what the differences are between you and your opponent.
Well, I think the biggest difference is that I've actually worked in the private sector. I got out of college, I came back, and I worked for other people. And 3/4 of my working life, I worked out in the fields. I drove forklift, ended up doing some produce sales. I've run onion sheds. I've done transplanting, harvested out in the field. And I saved my money. And I bought my own little piece of dirt, and I planted trees on it, put the irrigation system in, took risk, put people to work, and had good years, had bad years, had tough years. And I think, we keep sending recycled staffers and politicians. I don't think it's so much party, although I think party has a lot to do with it. But we keep sending recycled staffers and politicians to Sacramento and to Washington who have no idea about the impacts of the laws, rules, and regulations that they pass because they've never had to deal with it. And same thing goes for education. I've got a brother and sister that teach. My dad's county superintendent of schools, Tulare County. I've got two aunts that teach. They just don't understand the impacts and the laws and the rules that they pass. And my opponent has no real life experience in business or in any of these situations. And I think we need to send some common people, some hardworking people who understand the impacts. That is a huge, huge difference.
Well, Andy, one of the problems that we face today in not just the local government but in the federal government as well is success is a negative. And being successful really is not a positive when you're trying to get elected in a position.
Oh, that's an interesting comment.
I guess I should have phrased that in more of a question.
Yes, it should be phrased more in a question. Yeah. Because here you have Andy, a successful businessman who's making a transition that his opponent has not made.
But that's part of what they brought up in their advertisements, that because he's successful, he can't be a good politician.
That's true. Well, hey, hopefully he won't be a good politician. Hopefully he'll be working for the people.
That's right. I'm not a politician. My job is to serve the people. That is what I want to do. We've got, our unemployment rate is way higher than the rest of the state, and this state's not doing well in unemployment, across the country. And we need to put people back to work. Sure. And we need to, in our education, we need more local control. We need more career tech and vocational programs in our schools. And they just keep cutting these things, and they think a cookie-cutter approach from Sacramento or Washington, D.C. is good for all students. Well, there's so many successful paths to abundant life without, you don't have to go to a four-year university. There's so many other pathways. In my family, there's 5 of us, and all of us have taken a different path, and it's not always a traditional four-year university.
Yeah, let me ask you a specific question. It seems that when the people are elected, either on the Republican side or the Democratic side, they go and are put into office, and then they vote exactly how they're told. How are you going to be voting if you don't agree with something that the Republican Party says that you should vote yes or no for?
Well, that's a great question. I've been asked that before. I'm 47 years old, and I'm basically, I think I'm trainable. I mean, I want to do what's best for the district. That's why I'm running. I want to help this district. I want to help the state. And if I don't feel that it's going to be best for my district and best for the state as a whole, then I'm not going to be for it. And that's what I wish everyone would look at it that way.
Andy, just one thing I'm curious about. Because your opponent has done this. I mean, do you have any ambitions beyond this? I mean, in a couple months from now, are you going to announce for another position, or are you going to be content with what you're going to be doing as a state senator?
Well, that's another great question because she jumped here 3 months into her taking office. No, I have no ambitions except to serve the people of this district, and when I ran against Jim Costa, the lines changed. I had an opportunity to run for Congress there. David Valadeo stepped up, and I encouraged. I said, absolutely, go for it, and I went back to the ranch. So I have no ambitions of running for any other offices. I will stay as long as the voters think I'm doing the job that they elected me to do.
Good. We're having a conversation with Andy Vidak, who's right now in the middle of a senatorial run. Please go to the polls on July 23rd, and we would hope you would vote for Andy Vidak.
Now, you do know, Andy, that if you don't vote the way you're told to vote, that you're going to end up like Shannon Grove back in a small little office in the corner. So are you going to also have district offices?
Yes, we will.
And
yep.
Where will they be located?
Well, I haven't put, we were just starting to think about that when we thought we had actually won. But, we'll probably be, this district goes from darn near South Dos Palos to Arvin Lamont and Wood Lake to Coalinga. I mean, it's just a massive district. But I think Delano and Hanford, just right off the top of my head, I think there would be nice central areas with the new district changing a little bit.
Now, this is a heavy union district, so how do you overcome that?
Well, we're just talking to voters, and everybody has the same, they're all hard-working families here. And whether they're in the unions or not, and there's a tremendous different a lot of different types of unions, but we're just talking, and we got a common sense message. No one is going to do well if we're driving business out of the state.
I know when you ran against Costa, you went up and met face to face with the unions in Arvin, Lamont, and I guess at that location up in the mountain. I forget who ran that thing, but you ran up there and did real well with the union people. Have you been in contact with the union people and trying to get appointments to talk to them?
I have talked with many of them, and we're just taking folks one by one, door by door, and we're having tremendous success. And that's why we were, did so well in the primary, and it looks like we're going to do very well now.
Now, do you have anyone on your team that speaks Spanish? Because I think yours is a pretty heavy Spanish district.
Yeah, probably 3/4 of the folks that work for me are bilingual.
Sure, they'd have to be. Andy, one question I have for you is, again, this is going to be a very, very highly Democratic state. It's going to be that way for a while, hopefully not too much longer. But can you work with the other side? How do you work in a scenario where the majority of the people are Democrat and you don't have a ton of say?
Well, you just, with a smile and a handshake. I mean, we just have to, I'm willing to talk to anyone, and I look forward to talking to folks. I have real-life experience in it, and so many of these issues are not partisan. I mean, public safety is not partisan. Clean drinking water is not partisan. Jobs is not partisan. We need to put people back to work, and I'm willing to talk to anyone there, and I think that we're going to have some success.
Well, and the big question, obviously, for this district and for this whole area is water. And it's almost as if they're against agriculture and water being, brought down to our area. How do you change the scenario up there as far as their attitude towards water?
Well, again, being a farmer, a businessman, and representing a district that is heavily impacted by the lack of water. I mean, here we go. I ran for Congress in 2010 because I saw folks that worked for me during the summer standing in food lines and getting Chinese carrots given to them from the state at the food lines because they should have been working. We fast forward here today, and next year we're looking at 0 to 5% deliveries. Again, it's radical environmentalism that's stopping the water deliveries, and we need a good strong voice there, somebody that understands the folks that are out of work, and somebody that understands the farmers that are hurting, the tire shops, the restaurants, everybody, the grocery stores, the whole local economy. And I'm willing to talk about it and fight for it. And, I've got firsthand experience with it. I mean, I live this every day. And we need more surface storage. We need to roll back some of these environmental regulations and rules because, when the judge gets it, he can't do anything but what the law says. Therefore, we have to change the rules and the laws. And Sacramento is polluting. If we were polluting into the rivers, into the Kings River, in Reedley and Sanger, like they do in Stockton and Sacramento, we'd be thrown in jail. And it's just because the power structure is there, and we need to go after it.
Andy, if people want to find out more about your campaign, where do they contact you? What's your website and your phone number?
VidakForSenate.com.
VidakForSenate.com. And is there a phone number they can call?
There is probably on that website, yeah.
Okay. So, I'm sorry.
Vidak for Senate.
So, vidakforsenate.com. VIDAK for Senate.com.
Yep.
Andy, you've got our support, and if there's anything we can do in the interim, please let us know. I think you would make a fantastic senator, and I hope to be at your inaugural in Sacramento.
Well, I look forward to seeing you there.
Okay. Andy, thank you, and have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you very much.
We'll be back in a moment on Taking Care of Business on Koerner Radio, News Talk 1180.